Good evening. Welcome to the Comic Book Shop of Doom. I'm your host. This is the nightly news for Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. This video is not for children. So if you're under 13, get your parents' permission to watch this video. If anything, get mom and dad to watch it with you and explain things that you don't understand. Ask your mom and dad, what's he talking about when he means this? They will explain it to you. I do not need a $40,000 fine from COPA, YouTube, or the government. This is your nightly news for Tuesday, June 16, 2020. All comic book, movie, and pro wrestling news. We got some good stuff today. Okay, DC and Diamond have temporarily extended their partnership through July for reorders. So comic shops want, extra books, trade paperbacks, blah, blah, blah. They can still get them through Diamond along with Lunar and UCS distributors. Okay, Diamond has been stiffing Tomorrow's. Tomorrow's Publishing is owned by John Morrow and his wife. They do magazines, Back Issue, Alter Ego, Comic Book Creator, Jack Kirby Collector magazine or something like that. It's something Jack Kirby something Draw. They've done a lot of magazines over the years, and Diamond is behind on payments to them. And they sent out a bunch of magazines and printed up a bunch of stuff to Diamond, and they also sent stuff to like Barnes and Noble. And Barnes and Noble won't take, and when they were closed down, they won't sell old magazines. So they got all these returns, and they're in bad financial shape. So go to tomorrows.com. They have a web page. They're looking for people to order their stuff to keep them in business. So Fantagraphics did something like this a couple of years ago when they got hit with I think a distributor went bankrupt and stiffed them on money. So they were like $100,000 in the hole, and they said if we don't get some money, we're gonna go under. So Tomorrow's needs help, and their magazines are really good. I really recommend Back Issue and Alter Ego. I get them all the time. And I did buy an extra couple books from them, and they are a little expensive. Well, some of the magazines are like $10, but some of their books, their hardcover books, are a lot. But they got really good stuff. They got history of comic books. They do. They go by decades. They do everything that went on in a decade. I got the '90s, 2000s, 2010. And I wanted to get 60s and 70s. The 60s, they split it into two volumes because of all the, like Marvel came up and stuff like that, and all the independents. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to invest in Genius Brands International. That is a TV and movie company that they're doing Stan Lee's Superpowers Kindergarten, and Arnold's going to do a voice on there. So basically, a cartoon version of Kindergarten Cop. Genius Brands just is doing another video on demand, pay-per-view channel or something, and they just hired Margaret Loesch, who used to work for Marvel, to run that for them. USA Network has renewed The Sinner for season 4. Vault Comics is partnering up with Heavy Metal Magazine in order to stem the tide of the bad publishing waters, since the pandemic. So they haven't really said what their partnership involves. DC editor Ivan Cohen is writing a digital HBO comic book, To the Max. It's free on the internet, so you can find it like on Comixology, which is Amazon's digital comic site. So To the Max is where normal people get superpowers. And some of the art for this looks pretty good. So the key word here, it's free. So check it out. Sci-Fi's TZGZ late night animation block has picked up a show called Devil May Care, and they got 3 pilots they're working on. Okay, remember Comic Book Men? Well, 2 of the guys, Ming Chen and Michael Zapkick, they have a shared universe podcast studio in Eatontown, New Jersey. It finally reopened since the pandemic, and they've helped launch 100 podcasts. Kevin Smith, Paulina Poroskova, Brian Q. Quinn from Impractical Jokers. So a bunch of people They help start up podcasts, so they have a studio you can rent and go there. And it's been in business since 2018. So there's life after comic book men. Okay, Florida this past weekend returned to comic and toy shows. So Comic Cons and toy shows are going in Florida, and they also opened up Universal Orlando Studios. So I saw that was open. They released the trailer today for Star Wars Squadrons, the video game by EA Sports or EA Video Games. It's coming out October 2nd. It looks really good. So the animation looks really good in it. I'm not really a video game guy, and I think it looks good. So that tells you something. I haven't played video games since 2000. I just got bored with them and put them down and never looked back. Okay, Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim this year is canceled. So they're going to have to go to 2021. They're not going to have anything going on in California. Marvel Studios is looking at finally introducing Thanos' brother. He was an Avenger for a while, Star Fox. So he's got the power of like making people fall in love with him and stuff like that. And he's super strong and he could fly. And he's like a humanoid. So he's got a regular human skin. He's not blue or nothing. So they're looking at bringing him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 2021 Oscars are delayed until April of 2021. Usually they have them in February or March. Okay, there's a rumor. CBS is considering making Captain James Kirk bisexual in a new Star Trek series. So they're going to have Captain Kirk swing both ways. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Area 51 is a S.H.I.E.L.D. base. So they've changed that around a little bit. On the Disney streaming service, the Disney Plus, they're going to have a Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Well, it's leaked out. They have a flaming skull logo on a bunch of bikers that are harassing Sam, Bucky, and Baron Zemo. So it looks like they got a biker gang that either worships Ghost Rider or is Mephisto. So that's kind of an inside reference there. Wrestling news. Former WWE star, now they don't know who it is because it's a confidential witness. They think it's somebody that got released recently. Is going to be a witness in a lawsuit against the company for the Saudi Arabia deal. That's the thing where they were on the plane and they were held against their will by the Saudi Arabian government. They weren't allowed to take off. And guys said that they saw guys with machine guns outside. So there's some lawsuit brewing, and they got a guy, he's going to testify against the WWE in this lawsuit. And supposedly he was on that plane. So it could be one of, like 20 guys that was on that plane that got released. So it'll come out eventually who it is. Wade Barrett turned down a Nexus reunion at WrestleMania. Now, this was before the pandemic hit. So they were planning on having the Nexus. It's the 10-year anniversary of that group attacking Raw. And he turned it down right out. So he didn't like the deal, the money, everything. Shane McMahon is going to challenge The Undertaker to a Hell in a Cell match. Oh, I can't wait for that one. And the last piece of news we got, AEW has a former pro boxer and Olympic medalist under a developmental deal, a guy named Anthony Ogogo. So, in other words, they're training him now, and it's probably that QT Marshall that's the partner of Goldust. He's got a gym and he trains guys, so more than likely they're probably sending him there to learn how to wrestle. Everybody have a good night.